Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. It's Josie here for my live at 5:30 Mountain Time, Sunday, doing my training here for you, Women Who Lead with Heart. Come on in and say hello. If you're joining live, give me a wave or a hello. Tell me that you're here. If you're joining on replay, give me a hashtag replay. And we're going to dig in. Today's topic is boundaries and saying no. Why we want to have healthy boundaries, why we might not have healthy boundaries, and how we can better honor them, better recognize what we need. I'm going to give you some really good training. Are you ready? Shall we dig in? Okay, first of all, let's just start with one thing. Don't let anybody tell you that you need better boundaries. If you don't feel the need to have really strong boundaries in some area of your life and somebody is trying to tell you that you need to change, that's not your business. Your business is knowing, you ready? I'm going to drop it here for you. Your business is knowing what is a yes for you and what is a no for you. That's all you got to do. That's what boundaries are. Is simply knowing what is a yes and what is a no and respecting it. And so I'm going to take you through a training with that today. All right. So, if you know that something is a yes or a no for you and you're not respecting that, that decision comes at a cost. It comes at a cost to you. Usually, it comes from leaky energy. If we're lazy, if we're sloppy with enforcing our boundaries or knowing for sure what they are and holding them, we will start to erode some framework that supports us and helps our energy, our safety, our honoring ourselves, our self-esteem, our wisdom, our knowing, our good feeling. All of that becomes at risk when we start saying yes to a no or no to a yes when we don't honor our boundaries. It's what I call leaky energy, and it leads to a lack of self-care, a lack of self-respect. Not honoring boundaries can lead to resentment for those whom we allow to trespass on a boundary. Not respecting our boundaries sets poor examples for those that we love in our life, and it sets a poor precedent for other people how they can treat us too. Not honoring our boundaries erodes our inner sense of worthiness and mattering. Because when we start to sell certain things out, when we let people do things that we don't want them to do, or when we say yes to things that we don't really want to do, we start subconsciously telling ourselves that we don't really matter. What we really want, what we really need, what we really crave, what we really desire doesn't really matter because our behavior isn't backing it up. So it's tricky stuff for us to start eroding, backsliding, backpedaling, softening something that feels like it's a boundary. It usually is a fairly hefty cost that comes out from that behavior. Because our actions are really louder than our words, right? That which we actually are doing or not doing is speaking volumes to ourself, to our subconscious, to our own self-esteem, and to the people around us, what we really believe. So it actually starts to erode our own belief. Okay, so we're going deep. Let's talk about examples of boundaries that you might want to hold, but that you let slide. Let's just sort of get some definition around what we're talking about with boundaries. Let's say you're just really, really, really easy for people to dump emotionally on. You're the person that people call and they just want to vent and tell you all the things that are wrong with their boss, with their husband, with their kids, with life. And you get hijacked with other people's emotions, with other people needing your time, with other people wanting your ear because you're a good listener, because you're empathetic, because you listen, because you are available. And you receive that negativity. That's a type of boundary that maybe you haven't identified for yourself, but that you realize it's not the way you want to spend your time. It's not the way you want people to access you. It's not the default that you want everybody to see you as sort of like the dump truck that you can just come and put all your stuff on you. That could be something that we could talk about, an energetic boundary with friends, with family. For those of us who are kind of like coaches or therapists, or um, if you're very emotionally aware, if you're very accessible, if you're very empathetic, if you are an empath, that could be something that you want to look at. Another boundary that could be trespassed upon is for parents who are used to, mothering and raising small children and doing for them and wanting the best for them. As that child grows and should take more responsibility for their own decisions and their own consequences of those decisions, there can be a boundary infringement where we sort of race in to save or to rescue. And then the child expects us to do that as well. So when they're in trouble, they reach out to the parent that has always said yes before to get help, to get rescue, to solve their problem for them. And this is sort of a pattern of a boundary infringement of us not allowing our children to adult up, right? That can be something that's a boundary, especially if it starts to happen like in the middle of the night. When you start to get phone calls from friends or from your kids, you realize this is not a healthy thing. That could be a boundary we're talking about. Another one at work can be when a boss dumps on you and gives you like all of this extra work, or in some way disrespects you, your time, your effort, your work product. That can feel like a boundary infringement. If you get constantly asked to take on more, if you're told that despite your job description, you need to accommodate more, that can be a real boundary infringement. And of course, there are other really serious boundaries that we can have about physical space, about being touched, about intimacy, about who's allowed to know things about us, about who holds our secrets. There are unspoken and spoken rules in relationships about certain boundaries that are held, about loyalty and honesty. These can be very serious and very poignant for us. So I invite you right now to sort of think about what boundaries are important to you that you maybe haven't really been examining, or that you haven't really identified or clarified are definitely a yes or a no for you, or where is that gray area that you're kind of flowing back and forth, sometimes saying yes, sometimes saying no, sometimes being accessible, sometimes holding firm, but most of the time actually letting things ride. This training is about you naming those things and becoming more aware of where you're slushy, where you're squishy with your yes and your no. In all of these boundary infringements that we may have in our lives, we need to take more responsibility for them happening. We're complicit. If we're not clearly saying a yes or a no, we're participating in being used and allowing ourselves to be leveraged or used or accessed in a way that maybe we haven't consciously said yes to, but we're participating in it by not being clear. By not being a clear no, we're being a default yes to things that we actually don't want in our lives. This is a little bit of a call out and a call forth that we need to take more responsibility, even if it seems hard. This is usually a time in the talk where somebody might say, yeah, but in my case, you don't understand. There's not enough people. We're understaffed. And like, somebody's got to do all these things. So yeah, it's infringing on my boundaries that my boss wants me to work nights and weekends, but what else am I going to do? And I get it. These are certain situations that are really challenging that might call forth a real challenge for you. Like, how am I going to hold a boundary when it might cost me at work, or it might cost me my social capital if I decline an important invitation, or if I say no? So let's look at those reasons why you might have resistance. You might have a darn good reason why you have resistance to holding a boundary. You might say, well, I want to be a good friend. That's why I let people call me at all hours of the day or night and ambush my time, hijack my day, and just offload on me. Because that's being a good friend, and I want to be there for them. Or we could say, well, I don't want to be rude. I don't want to say no. If somebody asks me to do something, whether or not I want to, I just want to say yes because I don't want to make them feel bad. So it's kind of the people pleasing side of boundary um, submission. Sometimes we say yes to no's when we're just avoiding rejecting others or being rejected. We're worried, what do they think? What would they think of us? What will they say about us? Or will they not call us next time? Or will I somehow not earn favor if I say no? I don't want them to feel rejected by me, and I don't want me to be rejected by them. So I say yes. So I'm easygoing. I'm amenable. I'm open to going along to get along. That could be a reason why. At work, we might say yes to things because we want to be relevant. We want to be important. We want to be on the inside. We feel honored to be asked. We want to feel essential. We want to feel significant. It can feel like a real fear of disappointing somebody who is asking us to take something on. We might feel obligated to come through, and we know that if we do, that will be on the plus side of the ledger of pleasing our boss rather than the negative side of saying, no, I can't do that. I don't have enough time. So sometimes there's a sense that like we kind of have to for our work persona, for our reputation. And speaking of reputation, a lot of times we'll flex on our own boundaries because we want to stay in somebody else's good graces. We don't want to hold our own in a way that they might be turned off of us. We might do something that we think will earn respect with them or earn validation with them or matter more to them, so that if we overgive, somehow we are getting something like safety, social safety, being on the inside, being accepted, getting that validation. Is any of this resonating for any of you if you're tracking? These are the reasons why you might have a darn good reason for being slushy with a boundary, because you feel like you get something out of, you know, getting blurring the boundary. There's some payoff to you. And when I say that, that might seem triggering because you might feel like, actually, no, I don't think there's any payoff to me, but it's confusing still. So I'd like us to take through maybe some more examples of why these might be flawed ways of thinking to help you claim what really is a yes for you and a no for you. So I want you to watch out or pay attention to some of these signals, some of these thought errors that might be behind your boundary infringement when you say yes to a no. When we assume how someone else feels, or someone else will feel, or will act, or will believe. Like when we think, oh, but if I do that, they'll hate me. They'll totally judge me if I do that thing. Like we're already assuming a negative response. Watch that thought process. Or when we're self-editing, like let's say I have a client that just shared with me that, she's so frustrated with a boss that is completely trespassing over all of these boundaries and tinkering with her team and overstepping her authority and criticizing people and ruining morale and all kinds of negative outcomes. And then right when she names all the things that are darn fine for her to have a boundary awareness about and a desire for a boundary, like this is my team, you can't talk to them. Then she said to me, but maybe I'm being too sensitive. Maybe it's just me. So this is the type of thought error that has you self-editing or making yourself smaller because you doubt that your point of view is actually valid or useful. And you judge yourself, well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just being too sensitive. Maybe I should give it another try. Maybe I heard him wrong. And we know when we're doing this, but we're often not really honest about it. Here's another thought error. When we abdicate to power, where there's a power differential, and we feel like somebody like with authority, a boss, somebody that we care what they think about us, is dominant and decisive, then we crumble and people please and say yes and surrender. because we just let that person power over us, regardless of a boundary we might have. Here's another thought error that we could be involved in when our desire to please, which is similar to that abdication to power, when our desire to please takes over, and we get passive and we let harmony seeking and our inner yes man take over because we think that it's easier to please people than to create conflict or friction. That's an error of thought. That's an error to think like, well, they're powerful, I should let them have their way. Or I don't want to go against the grain. I want to be easy to get along with. I want to go with the flow. Those are certain ways that we're selling out a deep-seated value or feeling. So that's what I'm calling a thought error. It's an error in our thinking. There's also sort of like acquiescing, where we sort of just shrug, like, well, we let other people use us in some way. They ask us for something that we don't want to give, but we go ahead and say okay because it's part of that either people pleasing or power differential. But notice when you sort of just let yourself be utilized. Another thought error that might have you run down the path of giving up too much of your boundaries is just a fear of confrontation. You'd rather keep the peace than create some sort of dissonance with the person that you would want to hold a boundary with. So you, again, go along to get along. You don't want to create some negativity in the relationship. And sometimes it's not even that concerted of an effort. Sometimes it's just we're unself-aware. We're just unmanaged and we just say yes without thinking, without even checking in with ourselves about what is a yes or a no. We think like, oh, sure, okay. That's just being so easygoing that you're not even aware that you're letting your boundaries be infringed upon because you're not paying attention. You're not in tune. Okay, so I just gave you a lot of things to think about. Maybe some of them you were like, oh yeah, that's me. I can see myself there. Big, big, big picture. I think all of it has to do with a common denominator. You ready? It's that we have an identity that our boundary goes against. So we might think, well, I don't want to be used, but we also have an identity that we want to be easygoing and amenable and friendly and the go-to person. And those two identity things are in conflict. So we want to just be aware, like, what's happening in that time-space continuum when somebody asks us to do something and we agree. What part of our identity is attached to saying yes? Like if it's a boss and they're asking us to take on this huge project that we're not even really good at or nor that we want, but we said yes to it. Why? Because we want to please the boss. We want that person to feel like we're a high performer, that we come through in the clutch because we have an attachment to the identity that we are the go-to person, that we're an achiever, that we can get things done. And so in many ways, there's this attachment to a certain identity of being like the easygoing friend or the high-performing people pleaser or the perfectionist that always achieves, that is keeping things in place even when it doesn't serve us. Is this resonating for you? Giving you a double snap? All right. So what I want to call you forth is to say, this is like the big question for you. What are you gaining or getting or benefiting from when you do not hold your boundary? When you get soft on your boundary, there must be a reason why you're doing it. And you want to become aware of that. You must be getting something out of it. Getting safety with the boss, getting safety with the friends, getting validation from your parents, getting dependence from your kids. Some sort of validation is coming at you that is a payout. You get something by not holding your boundaries. That's why you do it. You think, well, I really want that person in my life, so I have to take the good with the bad. You're getting something. You're getting hope that it will get better or that the relationship will serve you, even though a boundary might be trespassed upon. So I want to ask you in those moments that you're conforming, that you're really giving something up, what are you avoiding by holding your boundary? What are you afraid of? What's the fear there? Well, I'm afraid that if I start telling my kids no, my grown kids, that they won't depend on me anymore. And I actually like being depended on. I'm afraid of not being essential to them. That could be how it plays out when you're really honest with yourself. You could say, well, I'm afraid that I won't get the promotion if the boss feels like I suddenly won't work at the pace of the business. We want to know, what are we avoiding? What pain are we avoiding? And what safety are we gaining? This is how we get control over our decisions, by becoming more aware. I want to say that when you start to hold your boundaries, it will be uncomfortable. You'll have to face those fears. You'll have to face making somebody else disappointed. Or you might disappoint yourself because you have to make a hard decision about a relationship or certain things that you were getting by now saying no to something. It's not easy. But I also want to ask, by honoring that boundary, will you improve your life over time? You matter. This is all about you mattering. This is all about you not conforming something that is important to you, not giving something up because you think that it will help you some way when you know it's a gross compromise. The first thing you want to know is that you matter. What you want matters. What you desire matters. What you love, what you want to feel matters. And you can own that. But the way you do it is to be clear, first to yourself and then to the people around you. So, it might be hard for you to answer the question, what am I gaining from compromising my boundaries? I'm actually not sure. I don't like it. It doesn't feel good, but I keep doing it, and I'm not really sure why I do it. I don't know what I get out of it. This is because they're pretty deep-seated things. These are behaviors that are stemming from beliefs that maybe we haven't really examined, or maybe we're kind of afraid to examine. Enter coaching. A coach helps you see what you're avoiding, helps ask you powerful questions about what you're protecting, helps you get real about your behavior that's reflecting some belief that is in contrast with you mattering. Sometimes it's hard for us to do it ourselves. Like I say, we don't do brain surgery on ourselves, right? That's why we also don't do coaching on ourselves. We want some outside person to help reflect us to us, show us our greatness, and call us forth when we're not behaving as great as we could be to ourselves with our life. So you know what's coming next. I am a coach. I could be your coach. Now, at the time of me recording this, I am absolutely full with my one-on-one coaching and have a wait list, but I always have open my group coaching program, Completely Confident Women, who learn skills like this all day, every day, who have lifetime access to these types of lessons and weekly group coaching with moi to level up on where we're flawed thinking is leading us down a compromised life. It is the best thing you can invest in to get yourself coached, to get yourself this kind of support, to get yourself this kind of learning, to help you unlock the things that are holding you back that are inside your own mind. And it's not scary. It's actually really fun. So if this sounds motivating to you, and if you're curious about what it could be like, send me a DM and I'll give you all the information and you can sign up today and get started tomorrow. I'm here for you to recover, to be resilient, to find your inner truth, to find your boundaries, to find what's your yes and what's your no, and to stand up for them. And that's what I've got for you tonight. Go well.